Welcome to Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. In the next half hour, you'll obtain insights and tools to transform your life using the biblical principles found in the 12-step program. We believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience because we all have struggles in life. Struggles with addictions, food, depression, anxiety, and relationships, to name a few. You'll be encouraged to see how others have found a new way of life with hope for the future through life recovery. Your host is Steve Arterburn, founder of New Life Ministries and Women of Faith, author of over 100 books, and a sought-after speaker and teacher. Steve is the co-editor of the Life Recovery Bible, the #1 selling recovery Bible. With over 3 million copies sold, this is the Bible given to inmates by Prison Fellowship and the Pew Bible for the Salvation Army. Now here's Steve.
Welcome to Life Recovery Today. I'm Becky Brown. You know, when we talk about recovery, we have hope that we will leave our old life behind and our new habits will start to take over, that we'll have a rhythm in our recovery that will bring us freedom and a life that we can enjoy. You know, it does happen though from time to time where relapse will occur, and it's just part of that growth process. When we have a plan and a connection with our sponsor and recovery coach, we can get through those relapses or even recognize when they begin to start. Sometimes relapse will appear as though we just don't feel like going to a meeting, and it doesn't feel like that's relapse. We haven't gone back to using, but it is the beginning of that downward spiral. We want to prevent that. And that's where we can have help with a sponsor or a coach in our journey and connecting with them. In today's show, Steve is going to talk about some steps that you can take to prevent relapse. You know, he's been teaching about relapse prevention for many years. And on our last show, he went into in-depth about relapse prevention. But here he's going to give us some actionable steps that will make a difference in your recovery. We'll see how a relapse prevention plan can make a difference and have some actions that we can take right away. Let's go.
Hi there. Welcome to a final session on relapse. And what I want to talk about now is the need for re-intervention. I want to review a couple of things, and then we'll get into what needs to take place when we re-intervene, or essentially go back to the intervention process when somebody relapses. A review of the relapse stages. First there's complacency. They stop doing the things that they have committed to do that have been identified as healthy and healing and good for them. When they get complacent, then the person is confused. They start to rationalize, was it really that bad? Do I need to do all these things anymore? The confusion, could I use again? Stuff like that. And then that third stage, and third and fourth could go one way or the other, one could be before the other, but the cravings start to occur, or desire to go back into whatever. And then the compromise starts to take place. And I'm in places that aren't healthy, and I'm in a thought world that doesn't help, and my feelings and attitudes, all of them in compromise. And then finally, catastrophe. I go back to whatever it was that caused me the most problem. So that's what we're dealing with here. Then, if I'm the coach, well, I need to intervene here. I need to jump in and help steer this person or help them see the need to get back on track. So I am the initiator of a re-intervention, or maybe it's the first intervention. So what I need to do is go back to what makes a successful intervention and get that going. So we'll get there, but first, if I am going to help somebody that's relapsing and I see it, and I want to intervene as early as possible, then I have some conversations that I need to make. And one would be, I want you to talk about the struggle that you're going through. Tell me about that. And I'm hoping that they're going to be open and honest, and if not, I'm going to probe more, try to seek out or inspire them to be honest. And then I'm just going to say something. Well, it sounds like to me that the plan that we implemented, it just didn't have enough things in it. Didn't have enough help, good things. And so if we could just correct some of those things, and maybe it's as simple as, you've been going to 2 meetings a week. What if you went to 4 meetings a week for 4 weeks? How about that? See if that turns this thing around. So now that's not horrible. That's not really demanding, but it gets that concept in place that I need to do more. I've done the research, not in a better place now. I just need to do more. Then the opposite. Maybe I need to look at all the things that I've been doing and ask myself, what do I need to do less of? What do I need to remove? Who are those people that have really kind of ushered me into a more difficult place, problematic place? Where are those situations that I went that I really should start to avoid, not go back to? So I can talk to this person about, let's build up whatever you were doing, add some things, and then also let's reduce some things that are not healthy. Now that's a very, very non-confrontational conversation, just talking about the reality that's there based on these relapse stages are starting to show up. Now, it could be more difficult than that. And what could be more difficult is that they actually may need to go back into treatment. I mean, if somebody's problem that you're dealing with, they're recovering from depression, and they have a growth program and a support program to get out of depression and stay out of depression. Now they're deeply into depression. They may need to go back into a treatment center. They may need additional counseling. Maybe it's an outpatient day program that they need. But you can't just do things that are like trying harder to get rid of the depression. You might have to ask them to do something extreme. And the same with the person where it's drinking or drugs. Maybe they were in treatment and they need to go back for treatment. I know at New Life, where we do Every Man's Battle workshop, we have an amazingly high success rate with guys that turn things around. But we're not perfect, and we don't have a 100% success rate. And so a spouse will call and say, well, I caught him again. And then the answer is, we'll go back to Every Man's Battle workshop, and this time do it from a different perspective. Do it with a different attitude or inspiration. Whenever I hear somebody, like I'll say, well, what about counseling? They'll say, well, I tried counseling, or we tried counseling. Well, then try it again. Try it from a different perspective. Try it with someone different, and let's see if we can make that experience a better experience. The point is that I need to give direction so that they know where they can go, what to consider, and I don't ever want to be threatening to them or shaming of them in any way or feel controlling of them. Now, the whys of the relapse. I don't think you have to deal with that right now. I think in the recovery program that they get back into, they're going to be dealing with all those whys, the issues, and things like that. So don't get into or off on some deeper discussion when the agenda needs to be this person getting the help they need to get back on the track that produced so many great results for them. That's where the focus needs to be. And then the other thing too, be sure that you're never giving up on this person who's struggling with whatever it is they're recovering from. I believe if you will persevere with them and they see that no matter what they do, you don't give up on them, then it kind of exemplifies God's attitude toward us and His relationship with us, where He will not give up on us. So I don't want you to give up on them, because if you do give up on them, where are they going to go? So be willing for them to tell you you're the worst coach that's ever existed, or whatever they need to tell you. But just keep coming back with, I can see how you would feel that. Thanks for sharing it. But let's get back to how do we get back on track with you. And so those are the beginnings of a conversation when you observe that somebody is back in the throes of relapse. Those conversations, I hope, are from a heart that really cares about this person, is compassionate, understands the hurt, disappointment that they're feeling, and then also all of the folks around them, what they're experiencing and feeling also. So the goal is always to have a conversation early in the relapse process, long before the person would go back into whatever it was that caused so much trouble for them. But let's talk about getting way on down the road here. And let's just say this person is in the full throes of relapse. And it's a problem. And you've got a plan that they've given you. And that plan has a what-if clause. And hopefully the what-if clause gives you permission to call somebody that's related to them, whether it's the sponsor, the spouse, but you want to talk to somebody about this. And what you want to set up is either another formal intervention or an informal intervention that produces the same things that are occurring in a real life intervention. So whether the person's boozing, using, abusing, or just refusing to do anything healthy, no matter what, we need to jump back in there and intervene. So I want to go over the intervention process and then now the re-intervention process. So in the intervention process, we bring people together and we tell the person, here is the way you used to be. Then you develop this problem, and here's what I see in you now, and here's what I'd like you to do to get help. I want you to get back to that person that you were. That's a standard intervention program. People come in, sitting around, and they read a letter that says, Daddy, you were so much fun and engaging, and we went places, we did things. Then, when you started to gamble, well, first there was no money for us to do things with, and then you would spend hours researching, looking at stuff, betting, and then you were angry and frustrated. I'd like to see that old dad again. So that's a typical type of thing that someone would express, or a letter they would read in a formal intervention. Well, now that we've got the person in recovery and they've made some progress, we have a couple of new elements to add to that. So here's what I'm hoping, that the spouse, the sponsor, and the significant others that either were in the intervention that was original or could be in an intervention will write these letters or make a phone call so that everybody is back encouraging this person to get on the recovery track again. So here is how that would go. I'll just use the little girl example again. She calls from college now. She's older. And she says, Dad, been talking to Mom, and back in the beginning when I was growing up, remember me talking about how valuable it was and these were the things that we used to do, and this is how you used to be. Then, gambling became a thing. You got in trouble, and I was so grateful, Dad, when you started to recover. You started going to Gamblers Anonymous and things, and you were just so full of life again. And it was wonderful to see that. I had my dad back. Then, Dad, recently, I'm starting to see some things that feel like that guy that got in trouble. I'm starting to feel some insecurity because I'm just wondering where all of this ends up. And so I'd like to see you get back on that track. I'd love for you to do whatever it takes to get that dad back, that man that you became in the recovery process. I don't know what it was that got you off base, Dad, but I just hope and pray that you could get back into that program you were on so that things start to get better in your life again. That would be a way to re-intervene in this person's life.
Are you going through your struggles alone? Do you want someone to talk to help you through your pain? Do you feel like a failure when you relapse again, telling yourself, next time will be different? Don't walk this path alone anymore. Join a life recovery group today and be a person that your friends and family can be proud of. God created us to be in community, and we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country, and if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. Life Recovery brings recovery to you, right where you are. You'll take a journey with others to find healing and freedom. Whether you're looking to join a group or start one, New Life Ministries is here for you. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or visit liferecoverytoday.net. Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of life recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other life recovery resource, visit liferecoverytoday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Welcome back. He talked about the reintervention, thinking that you have passed the place where you don't have to surrender is part of that relapse that will begin. We can never forget that we have to surrender daily to a process and a plan. And when we recognize the places where we might veer off the path, it can help us ward off those relapses. We need directions so we don't get lost. When we think about relapse prevention, we can know that there are great guides along the way, and that can come with a sponsor or a coach. Let's watch more from Steve.
Okay, so the person that you're coaching has relapsed, and it happens. You could be the greatest coach ever, and a person is going to relapse. So what I want to be able to do is with their sponsor or the spouse or others, I want to inspire them to get help again. More help, different help, better help. If that's going to happen, anybody that's on board, any access that I have, and we really haven't talked about this, but if you're helping somebody as a recovery coach, it would really be good that in that process, whether it's virtually or in person, that you get to meet or talk with other folks in this recovering person's life. It would just be natural that you would want to talk with the other people. And if you have access to them, you want to communicate with them. We have a great opportunity here. This person has learned that they didn't have enough things in place. Now we're going to encourage them to put some more things in place. Add the meetings, whatever. But it's really important that no person that's going to interact here for us to help get someone back on track, no person falls back into enabling or codependency. And they may already have. And so if I have any contact, and I sure do want that, with anybody, I need to be sure that they're not enabling the person to continue thinking, oh, well, he had a rough spell or whatever. And they're certainly not perpetuating the problem. And their codependency hasn't risen rather than them recovering from codependency. Also, I want to be sure that all communication is free of shame. I don't know of people that go back in and get help because they got shamed into it. It just, they may, at the end of drunk driving, whatever, they may feel so much shame that they decide to recover. But I don't think this is the time for shame to play a role. I think shame needs to be replaced with support, encouragement, and ongoing love. If a person feels like, I blew it. Everybody had these feelings great about me changing, recovering, and now I've blown it and they're all going to hate me or reject me or whatever, then I might not want to recover. I might have very little motivation to get better. So the messages need to be free of shame and full of encouragement and an optimistic outlook that this person can do more, do differently, and they're going to be okay. Also, I need to be sure that I'm not blaming this person for something else that's happened. In other words, I don't want to dig up some old stuff. I don't want any of the family members doing that either. I want to be sure they're not going back to blame or blaming themselves, that we're staying pretty much emotionally healthy and reality-based and current without all of these other negative feelings and attachments that can make it more difficult to get back on track. And then I'd also like you to think about any struggle you have when somebody you're working with doesn't make progress. I think we've established that if anything good's going to happen, the coach, you, might be the one that has to initiate something good because you observed that this person was on the path back into full-blown relapse because you started to notice that complacency, or maybe you responded when they started to talk about craving, things like that. I think we've got that. But when this happens, I want to remind you of some concepts here, that we put in the 12 laws of life recovery. And the first one is this concept of powerlessness. Sometimes we just need to remind a person that's been relapsed, says, hey, you admitted that you really were on your own powerless over this. And when we get back into admitting powerlessness, it is the invitation for us to develop strength because we're open to more than just our own willpower. We're open to God and others that give us the strength and the ability to recover. So we might need to remind somebody, hey, maybe you just forgot how powerless that you were. But if you could honor that extreme limitation concept of powerlessness, we'll get back in here, get back on the program, and you're going to experience the strength that I know you want to experience. The other thing is that we need to help them see the law of humility all over again. Okay, so you can ratify, justify, whatever you want to do, but when you humbly see the reality and admit that this is something that you've caused or that you didn't pay attention to, now you're on a path back to honor. Honor comes out of humility. Talking about yourself, proving that you're strong, not much honor there. People see through it. But humility is that genuine foundation that God says is going to lead to honor. And then connection. It is obvious that a relapsing person has blown connection in a lot of different areas. If I am not connected to people, if I'm not connected to God, then I am disconnected from love. God is love. If I'm not connected to God, I don't feel that love. If I'm not connected to other people, I'm not experiencing love. So one of the great upsides of recovery, restoration, and healing, love, it's gone. I'm absent that in every way possible. And then I want one more thing to think about. The person that relapses may not have sufficient closure on the things that happened before. And for that closure to take place, you need to make restitution. Maybe they have never fully made restitution, made amends with folks that have been hurt by them. So encouraging them to make restitution, to bring closure to everything, could be a most vital element to implement in this program of getting back on track after intervention. I am so grateful to get to have any kind of input into your life as it is impacted by recovery coaching knowledge. Because I think every life coach needs to know about recovery, needs to help a person in this process of building strength, redemptive connection, and experiencing God's love in a way that many people never do. Thanks for your commitment to it, and I'll see you next time.
Welcome back. We are so grateful that you joined us today, and maybe you've discovered that recovery coaching is part of your relapse prevention plan. When you work with somebody like a sponsor or a recovery coach, they can help you identify the places where you might be veering off of the recovery path. We want to help you find and connect with someone like that. You can call us 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we will get you connected with a group, a recovery coach, or even a counselor if that's part of your relapse prevention plan. Thanks for watching today, and we'll see you next time on Life Recovery Today.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today with Stephen Arterburn. We hope this program has helped you integrate God's truth and wisdom into your recovery journey. This program is brought to you by New Life Ministries, and it's your support that keeps this program on the air. When you contact us for any reason, be sure to let us know that you watch on NRB. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE or go to liferecoverytoday.net. Please join us again next week for more Life Recovery Today.